next part we're going to create for activity 5.7 is going to primarily use the rectangular pattern tool. So in your activity sheet, if you scroll down to part number 6, you'll see that we are going to create this rectangular plate and this cylindrical extrusion, and then we're going to pattern that extrusion across the plate. So if you look at the first instruction for the rectangular pattern, you'll see that it needs to be a 6-inch by 4-inch by 0.5-inch rectangular plate. So we'll go ahead into Inventor, go and open up a new standard IPT file, and then we'll create a sketch on the XY plane. And using the rectangle tool and working from the origin, we'll create a 6-inch wide. So I'll hit 6 and hit tab to tab over to the other dimension and type in 4, hit enter. And then you can zoom out and you have a 6x4 rectangle. And we can finish our sketch, use the extrude command, and extrude that to a thickness of 0.5. The next thing we need to do is add the cylindrical extrusion. So if we go back to the activity sheet, you can see on this dimension that we have a 0.3 diameter hole, and that 0.3 diameter hole is located 1/2 inch from the bottom and 1/2 inch from the left. So go back to Inventor, create a new 2D sketch on this front face, and we'll grab the circle command and make a circle, and you can place it wherever you want, just approximately in the right location. We're going to make that 0.3 inches in diameter. And then we'll zoom in a bit, grab our dimension command, dimension from the center point of the circle to the left-hand side, and that dimension should be 0.5. And then we will dimension from the center point to the bottom edge, and that dimension will also be 0.5. I can go ahead and finish my sketch, and I need to extrude that circle, so I'll grab the extrude command, select that profile, and there's no dimension on the activity sheet for how tall these should be. We'll just go ahead and make it 0.5 inches just to be easy. Now that you have that cylindrical extrusion, we need to pattern it both horizontally and vertically down the X and Y axis. So we're going to grab the rectangular pattern command, which is at the top of the pattern panel. And the first thing we need to do is select the features we want to pattern. So I'm going to grab that cylinder that we extruded. And then it asks you to give it a couple directions. So if we go back and look at the activity sheet and scroll down and zoom in here just a little bit, you'll see that in our pattern command, we select our feature, which is our cylinder, and we have two directions. The first direction is horizontal along this x-axis, so we'll need to select that, and we need to make 6 total cylinders along that. That includes the initial one that we're copying. And then the second direction will be the y-axis, or the vertical direction, and there needs to be 4 total, and both of those have a spacing of 1 inch in between each part. So if we go back to Inventor, grab direction 1 or selection tool for direction 1, and I want that to be this horizontal or x-axis. I need to change that to a total of 6 copies. And then I'm going to do the same thing for direction 2, except I'm going to grab the horizontal y-axis. And you'll notice how this arrow is pointing down and is trying to pattern it down instead of up. So you need to come over to direction 2 and hit the flip option, and that'll flip the direction and pattern that vertically. And we need to change that to 4 total patterns, and then make sure that this has a 1 inch spacing. And once you have that done, click OK, and that'll pattern that part all the way across your rectangular plate. Once you have all that done, you can go up and add a color if you like. I'll just scroll down, I'll make it gold, and you are completed with this part. Make sure you save it using the correct name, which in this case, where the red arrow is rectangular pattern _ first initial last name, and save it in your 5.7 folder.